Well, I was hearing an echo, so that's going to be my fault.
Oh. Well, there we go. Hello, everybody. How you all doing? This is, well, hopefully this is the night that Green Bay Packers hammer the San Francisco 49ers, but we won't be talking about that because whilst Linda knows all about football, Erekose knows not a damn thing. So we will not be talking about the American football.
Okay. I'd rather watch your football.
Okay. So
this is why I said on Twitter, let's see what the Mad Scotsman has in store for us today.
What's that?
We did this. So here we go.
What are you on about?
Oh, look, it's Linda. Yep. Last minute.
Sorry, I'm getting completely distracted. So what it's taken me a wee while. I must admit, I do apologize because I did ask everybody back in. I'm gonna say it was September the 1st of 2019 that I did a tweet, and I asked everybody a particular question, and the question was, if you were being wrongfully convicted, who would you like to have as your defense attorney? And I suppose that we could definitely expand that out to other scenarios. But basically, what I did was I went through all the responses to the tweet and all the responses to the video. So anyway, hi there, guys. How you doing? How you doing, Linda? How you doing, Linda?
I'm doing okay. I'm
good.
Yeah, I'm good. Healthy.
And what's the weather like in Minnesota? Yeah.
Cold, very cold. We just had some storm come through. We're supposed to get 10 inches. Just got 4 inches. So it's a typical Minnesota day.
Yeah.
Cold and rainy here too. Well, it rained a little.
It's raining in California? Oh my gosh, there's a song up there.
Rained a little bit.
Oh well, I mean, we all feel sorry for you, dude. I mean, what a shame. You've
what
got
a life!
Yeah, it's a hard life, you know. But somebody's got to put up with it. Hey, dude,
to be out there amongst
living the dream, living the dream, eh?
Yep, amongst the stars and in the sun.
At least it wasn't a full moon last night, hey, dude. Oh,
right. So that's why we can't get into Hogwarts, right?
Yeah.
Do they know who you are?
Well, you'd have thought so by now, but obviously not.
They do driving down the streets of Nina.
Okay. Here we go. I found the tweet, and I put this. Okay, this is on the 1st of September 2019. If you found yourself wrongfully convicted, who would be your lawyer given the choice of? Now let's just expand that. In other words, not just if you found yourself wrongfully convicted, but let's open it up and say if you found yourself in need of a lawyer. Okay? I mean, basically in America, lawyer equals liar, as far as as far as I can tell. But I would say the vast majority of lawyers in America, that they are not a nice bunch, because for one thing, when they finish being a lawyer, they go on to be a judge or a politician, and that's even worse than being a lawyer, surely. Okay, would that be a fair assessment? Okay, go on, dude. Give us your opinion.
I get what you're saying, but whether or not your suggestion applies across the board, a
bit generalistic. I get that. Okay. Linda, what would your thoughts on lawyers be?
Never needed one. Hopefully, I never do.
Yeah.
And I've had one in the family, and he wasn't crooked. But he was only a family practice lawyer.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So anyway, here we go. If you had a choice of Dean Strang, Jerry Buting, Steve Glynn, Walt Kelly, Steve Drism, Laura Nyrider, then we get to the comic ones, Michael Griesbach, Ken Kratz, And then we get to the serious ones, the really serious ones. David Rudolph, Kathleen Zellner, or Erekose. Who would be your lawyer of choice?
Well, if I was crooked, Ken Kratz. if I really wanted to pin something on somebody and I didn't do it, yeah, I'd pick him. In all seriousness, I think I would take the staircase lawyer, Peterson. I like him. Rudolph, yeah. I really like him. He's passionate. He's good at what he does. I don't, that's a hard choice, but I think I would stick with him.
Dude.
Oh.
David Rudolph, thoughts?
My thoughts on David Rudolph?
Go on.
I like David Rudolph.
You can be honest. You can be honest.
Yeah, I will. So I'll make it even-handed. I'll say that. I mean, I admire David Rudolph. He's a good guy. He, it's clear when you watch The Staircase that case stuck with him. He thought that he could just say, "Oh, you know what, Mike, I can't represent you anymore." And I think he honestly thought that when he said that it was going to be it, but it wasn't. Right. Because what do you know? Just a couple years later, Mike Peterson's lawyer dies, and suddenly, David Rudolph's coming back over because obviously it's still weighing on his conscience. So that means that guy has a soul. Yeah. So that's one thing. However, I do have a bone to pick with the guy because he did agree to come on my channel twice, and then just kind of just blew me off. So, he's a good guy. He's doing a lot of things, a lot of good things. So I forgive him.
Yeah. Okay. He stood you up. I know. What was
when you're picking one? Do you go by their rate of success, or because that's kind of a thing there when I'm thinking about their success. Zellner, Rudolph.
To be honest, one or two people down here that they've been a bit more coy and they've gone for a dream team. Okay, so you are allowed more than one. Okay.
Oh well, then I'll take all three of the good ones.
There's a few really, 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 really good ones there.
Yeah, Erekose. I'd have to have him on my team.
but no, the thing that's David Rudolph was that when he decided that he couldn't carry on anymore with Mike Peterson, there was a guy that took over the case, wasn't there? And that other guy, Mike Peterson, he was absolutely brilliant, and he did a really, really good job of putting, of supporting Mike Peterson, and really understood the case. And the guy died. Was it like something stupid like 2 weeks later? He died of a heart attack. I seem to remember that. Anyway, I suppose we should also add to the list. I would have to say Vic Fussell, who I know that Travis thinks the world of, and Dennis Reardon. But anyway, we'll get on to that. So anyway, first up. Okay, so I think we've established a list. I would also add to that there's Robert Dvorak, not right. The famous composer of the New World Symphony, but the attorney that chased Michael O'Kelly all the way across in America to get him. I mean, reminiscent of Erekose chasing Steve Drizzen halfway around the world to present him with a T-shirt. That's the kind of passion that we want to see. Yeah,
exactly.
I was thinking to him in Sydney then.
I agree. You want somebody who's got passion for what they're doing and that believes in you, So I would have to look at that. That's why I say Rudolph. He's pretty passionate about his job.
Yeah, but dude, any dude can fly into Sydney and pin a T-shirt on David Rudolph, but to fly into Sydney and then go all the way down to Melbourne, that's where the passion really.
That's called stalking.
That is called. Yeah.
That's stalking.
That's commitment.
The heart is a stalker.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
Okay. So anyway, here we go. Here's the list. Okay. Charles Darwin, or Ken Kratz,
right,
reckons that Ken Kratz is a straight up honest lawyer, and he's definitely the person he would go with.
Right.
So, any thoughts about Charles Darwin and Ken Kratz? If I would just sorry to interrupt. I would just say that if I wanted to convict somebody on zero evidence, I think Ken Kratz is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that's what I said.
If I mean, it's a no-brainer. Michael
You can think of a fantasy.
Get Ken Kratz in. He is bloody brilliant, because another thing is he feels there is zero pressure on any of the prosecutors. That he doesn't feel pressure. He told me that in a chat. In a message. He doesn't feel any pressure whatsoever. So therefore, it's a no-brainer.
He also doesn't have any morals. So why would you feel pressure?
But also, what I would really like would be to go and meet him at the Calumet County District Attorney's office and see if he'll take my phone number, and maybe send me a few nice messages. I mean, that's what you want from a prosecutor, isn't it?
Well, I don't see Ken Kratz having any kind of thing that I would want out of a prosecutor.
Well,
I mean, I could barely look at the guy, let alone listen to him talk. So he would definitely be an out for me unless I was just as crooked as he was.
So we had, obviously, Ken Kratz decided after he'd tried to avoid the sexting scandal. He then went on to do this. At the same time, just before it was going to be revealed that the sexting scandal was unavoidable, he tried to get himself in as a special, professor of law at various universities.
Right.
That never turned out. So what did he do next? I'll become a defense attorney. How did that go for him?
Well, actually, he was going to run before that sexing scandal.
Oh, yeah.
He was going to run for Congress.
Yep.
He was actually getting ready to run for Congress when that whole thing hit. He was just starting to get it lined up. So that's another little interesting thing, not just the thing, obviously there's the thing about him wanting to be the, what do they call it? The resident professor of law or whatever it was at that university. That's one thing. He was looking for the prestige to build himself up for his run for Congress. And then the sexting scandal came and just wiped that all out.
I have a question. What was special prosecuting attorney? What did they mean by special prosecutor? I've heard people ask me that. I want to answer.
Well, he's the prize.
Oh. Oh, that's what I've said to people, but that isn't the right answer. So,
dude. Special because.
I'm sorry?
Special because.
Well, I'm saying, it's only special because because he came from Calumet.
Okay.
Yeah, they decided not to use Manitowoc County DAs, and they brought in Calumet County DA.
Okay.
And he liked it because he can be well. In fact, in some literature, he is recognized as being the Manitowoc County sheriff's the Manitowoc DA, but of course he was brought in to take over the case. Why was he brought in to take over the case? I suppose because it's a neighboring county, but clearly he seemed to be
conflict of interest.
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, Teresa Holbach was from Calumet County, so it's kind of like, Look, I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever that Ken Kratz will go down in history, not for having convicted Stephen Avery and not for his sexting scandal. He will go down as being the most unethical prosecutor that's ever been there. I mean, he's just low down. He's just vile, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know what else you can say about him. So moving swiftly on from one of the most vile creatures that's ever roamed the planet to a lawyer who I've seen, I'm going to say 3 times, Stephen Drism. His response to that same question was Karen Daniel. Does anybody know who Karen Daniel is? Dude?
Oh, yeah, I do.
She is the former director of the Center for Wrongful Convictions of Youth over at Northwestern.
Who just lost your life.
She did a great job over there, but she recently had stepped down, and just a while after stepping down was tragically killed.
Right.
Was it a fatal road accident or something like that?
Yes.
And it's interesting, isn't it, that Steve Drism refers to Karen Daniel. Of course, I was thinking, because 1 or 2 people have mentioned Saul Kassan, but he's not actually a lawyer, is he? He's a professor of law and of wrongful convictions and coerced confessions. I believe I've got that right. I was absolutely delighted when I got obviously an email from Saul Kassan. So I'm going to be following up on a lot of stuff there. Okay, moving swiftly on then. God bless her soul, Karen Daniel. Obviously, somebody that, well, she must be good if Steve Drism and Laura Nyrader look up to Karen Daniel. Now, our resident lawyer in the group, Travis Williamson, or as I like to call him, Texas 2 Counties, has gone with.
Oh, whoa.
I call him Walter. He calls me Smokey. Fair dues. Look, Travis has gone with Stephen Drism, Laura Nyrader, and Dennis Reardon.
That's who he's gone with?
Yeah. That's 3rd on my list. I
very highly of Dennis Reardon. I know that. He's,
The only problem with Dennis Reardon is that apparently he's very, very expensive.
Well,
I
didn't know there was a budget on this decision.
Isn't exactly cheap. So
I didn't know there was a budget on this decision. I better think this. If you're going on my budget, I have to take a public pretender. I'm sorry, I'm out of the game.
But no, Dennis Reardon, I did a video where I shared a link to a conversation between him and 2 other attorneys. One was one of the prosecutors that prosecuted Timothy McVeigh, and one was a huge advocate against the death penalty. Anyway, we'll come on to that later on. Let's move swiftly on. These are the names of various people who will or will not be their real names. So we'll just go with that. The advocator on this was on Twitter, went for Kathleen Zellner. Anybody heard of Kathleen Zellner?
Rings a bell.
Yeah.
And obviously the Wisconsin post-conviction lawyer Tracy Wood. So I'm not too sure about either of those two.
Why did you put Seth Waxman in there?
Yeah, that was before he came along. This was, I think, before he came along. Actually.
Oh, okay.
This tweet was before he got signed on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because that was no.
Where's Trisha Bushnell? Is she on there? She get an honorable mention in this? She was helping Steve before Kathleen Zellner came along.
She was, yes, indeed. Can we move swiftly on to the Aussies? the Aussies. Tracy must have had a few to drink this night because Tracy Kehoe has gone for Batgirl.
Batgirl.
Sorry, Tracy. Listen. I didn't write this. You did.
Yeah.
So we move on to somebody called. Well, I've put Windy, so it must be Windy. I would not have spelt that right. Incorrectly. Sorry.
Right.
Wendy or Windy?
No, it's Wendra.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Went with Barry Sheck.
Yeah.
Shrek.
Founder.
As in Shrek from
Founder of the Innocence Projects.
What?
Yeah.
Not Shrek and Donkey.
No.
I would have
Okay.
Shrek come and rescue me any time.
I wouldn't mind him neither. He's the one that started the Innocence Project, so he probably knows quite a bit about it.
Yeah.
He was the one to argue the DNA in the O.J. Simpson trial as well. So that's that's kind of where he got his notoriety from.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I would have to say that there were some lawyers that worked for the defense there that you wished weren't working for the defense, as if a bit like Kathleen Zellner. She is adamant she will never ever again represent anybody that's guilty.
That's right.
After Larry Eiler, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what did she do there? She got that guy to talk to her so that when he freaking died, she could actually give some closure to the families of his victims. I mean, she did the absolute right thing.
She says that
her integrity is not in question.
Right. She says that is what she really likes to do, is give people closure on the cases, so.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a good lawyer.
Can you imagine if she'd have had the chance to go and chat with Henry Lee Lucas?
I don't think she'd have wasted her time with that guy. She would have said, he's a crackpot, put him away. Nothing he says is right.
Oh, yeah. I could see Zellner being like that one detective that came in there and then went back to her precinct and then just made up a completely false case and then brought it back to show him. I could see Zellner doing something along those lines.
Just to set him up, yeah.
Linda Irwin was her name. Yes, Dark Side of the Moon. Linda Irwin. Okay, moving swiftly on. Ajay.
Oh, where'd Paul go?
Oh, Paul's Wi-Fi dropped.
Now it just turned into the Erekose Linda show.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, getting nothing but
Give the people what they want.
You're gonna get nothing but laughs.
Paul,
Travis says, "Oh no, oh no, we aren't behaviors. We'll talk."
Yep. Oh, so yeah.
I
love this. There he is.
Now I know for a fact that you have just said Paul's hit the wrong button. I never touched any button whatsoever. I
didn't say wrong button. I said your Wi-Fi dropped. That's what
I said you just wanted the show to turn into a success and left us on.
Bastard.
That was a good one, Paul.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, here we go. Ajay Rillo has gone for a dream team of Kathleen Zellner and Laura Nyrider. Now, that for me raises obviously the question: Did Kathleen Zellner, and I think she did, but maybe not in quite as disparaging a way as some people might think, that she was critical of the defense for Brendan Dassey when they went before the Seventh Circuit en banc. And I've discussed this many times, and people have said, well, you do realize, of course, that the majority judges, they were never in for changing their mind. But we'll never know, will we?
No.
But I can well imagine that if you've got a dream team of Kathleen Zellner and Laura Nyrider, I can see that working. I can definitely see that working, because you've got somebody who has been described, Kathleen Zellner, as a goddess from a machine.
Possibly.
Yeah.
That's a subjective point of view, but
Deus de Machina, and I can see that. And as for Laura, she's got a huge passion. We've seen her a couple of times in Australia. She's very, very good.
Yeah. Well, and I know what you're getting at, and so I mean, let's just get down to it. I mean,
okay,
this is the thing. Obviously, we're all what this is. I know what he's coming from right here. It's all about the part of the on-bank review, folks, where Judge Hamilton sets the groundwork and starts setting Laura Nyrider up, where he's asking her to offer a hypothetical situation for how things could go in the future if the panel went her way. And he sets it up as he's completely asking for something hypothetical. She even says, Judge, I'm not here to speak about that, and blah, 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 trying to, not talk about something she knows she's not supposed to do and say, right? And so she's saying, well, I'm not supposed to. And he immediately goes, I know, but I would just want to hear what you would have to say. Right. So he pushes her in to this point of argument that she didn't want to get into in the first place. So she starts. Now, she went an interesting way with it. And that is, she started suggesting what things could happen and this and that and whatever, and how interrogations could go. And she didn't really assuage their fears of why cops would have done this to Brendan, or why police officers might have done it to Brendan. And that's what Zellner points out in Making a Murderer 2. And I think there is a point to be had there, because had Laura Nyrider, she eventually gets swatted down by Judge Sykes, because Hamilton was basically, it's like a volleyball match, and he's setting the ball, and Sykes is coming up and spiking it, right? But the point is that if Laura Nyrider had maybe ventured a little bit into the realm of going, well, Your Honor, if you look at things and you check out, what was going on in Brendan's uncle's case, you're going to see that there was officers involved in the investigation that had a clear conflict of interest that was admitted to, but yet they were involved with it at every turn, finding almost every key piece of evidence. And you can imagine, Your Honor, that they might have been worried about their evidence holding up in court. That they might have had a little bit of a concern about that. And had she gone that way, not necessarily saying we believe Stephen Avery is innocent, but just calling attention to the fact that the prosecution could have felt like their case was weakened by having a compromised department involved in the investigation. And she could have maybe gone that way, and I think it might have possibly panned out in a little different way. But it's all subjective. We can go if, who, this, that, whatever. Who knows what those judges would have done? They may have just still been so concrete. Those 4 majority judges may have just been so concrete in their beliefs that there was nothing going to change their mind. That could very well be.
I personally think they, like you said, kind of were setting her up, and they knew that she was new at this. You know what I mean? And they're going to, try to get her. I think they would have that guy would have objected to anything she was saying if she would have said, well, Stephen's case, this, or this. I think that she probably wouldn't have got very far with that. That other guy wouldn't have allowed that. But I think they were playing on her weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? That one judge did, and then he asked her this one thing. Well, yes, you are asking us to change presidents and all this. They kind of just jumped on her at that point. So I think they took her newness to it and used that against her.
Yeah.
But I think she handled it as best as she could.
I think she held in well, being her, it's going to be her first on-bank review. A lot of lawyers in the world never get to an on-bank review because it's so rare. But did she do well? Did she stand in there being,
No, yeah.
Being who she is and not as experienced as, say, Mr. Drizzen is, so.
But a lot of people say that, they say, well, Drizzen shouldn't have threw her in there. She's too new. He should have did it. I've heard, people say that. He should have did it himself. You got to learn sometime. Her passion to get Brendan out was there. She knows this case. She's took this case since the day she graduated. I think she was a perfect choice. Whether, she was successful or not, it's, who you got as judges. What are they thinking? What do they believe? Like Zellner said, these guys live in Chicago in the suburbs. They don't have any idea that people are shooting guns, things like that.
They can't imagine the idea of gun shells sitting right outside their garage door in suburban Chicago. Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So I don't fault Drizzen at all for sending her in for that. I mean, he's like saying, here's my legacy. Here you go. Come on, passing it down, and making her learn. And it was a good judgment call, I think. I just didn't think it was the right, circumstances.
Okay. When we do the next rally in Manitowoc, we'll invite Judge Hamilton to come along and experience Wisconsin and the Avery Salvage Yard for himself. And
I don't think he'll take us on.
And find that one. What I would say, though, is that we hear, don't we, that Ken Kratz tried to insert himself into the oral arguments of the initial hearing, where he wrote an email to Tom Fallon asking, if he could get seats for him, and Tom Fassbender wanted to sit together for some reason. I don't know why they wanted to sit together. Maybe they felt more protected that way, or maybe they just wanted to hold hands. But, okay, we can accept that. But we hear that he wanted to, also in that email, he wanted to see Brendan's sentence being reduced, but he also wanted to attend all of the practices that Luke Berg was having so that he could, quote, offer his opinion on the blind spots. My question would be this: given the fact that Stephen Drizzen and Laura Nyrider are in Chicago and Kathleen Zellner is in Chicago, why not ask Kathleen Zellner, what are the blind spots in this case?
And who would ask Zellner?
And how do we know they did it? Really?
Well. Do we know that? I'm thinking. Did Kathleen Zellner say to them, "Look, I'm willing to help you on this," and they're not? I can only go by the fact that when we were in Australia, we heard Stephen Avery mentioned less than 5 times. We heard Kathleen Zellner mentioned once.
I remember him going on and on about it.
Well, I'm sorry, but if you're going to present a show that says this is making a murderer, who, I'm sorry, Brendan, Stephen, and Laura are very important, but what's the main part of making a murderer? It's Stephen Avery, but Teresa Halbach, and obviously,
you also have to look
Kathleen
at that.
Zellner.
Kathleen Zellner's interest is Stephen Avery.
Zellner's not in MAM1, Paul.
No, but by the time we went to Australia, she
doesn't come along until about 4 or 5 months after MAM1 comes out. Then that's when she enters.
By the time we were in Australia, everybody knew who Kathleen Zellner was, and certainly they did.
Well, I just think that she's not. Her interest is Stephen. It's that's who she's got to. I'm not saying that they don't talk, because I think they probably do. But
okay. Here we go. This will be interesting. Here's the next people on the list. Okay, Sean Maroney. Sean is I'm sure that's the Salford-based ex-publican. He's gone for somebody called Kathleen Zellner. Truth Always Wins has gone for Kathleen Zellner. Billy Freefort has gone for Kathleen Zellner and a dream team of Kathleen Zellner, Jerry Buting, and Dean Strang.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting, because this whole conflict of ineffective assistance of counsel with regards to Dean Strang and Jerry Buting, they have worked non-stop with Kathleen Zellner. Mm-hmm. That is the one thing I can assure you. When I spoke to Jerry Buting in Amsterdam, it wasn't a case of I'm having to do this. I am looking forward to an evidentiary hearing brought on by Kathleen Zellner.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on. After Billy Freethought, again, this name keeps cropping up. Robert would go with Erekose.
The dude.
And why wouldn't you? Because of the passion of the guy. You know, he knows what he's talking about. You know, he's probably
he sticks to facts.
He has been for the last 4 years on the ultimate course that you could possibly have on wrongful convictions and the law in Wisconsin. You must know more. I mean, here's the thing: that there is.
I don't know all the law, but I know.
But
if it comes to confessions, wrongful convictions of youth, and confessions and stuff like that, I have gotten quite a bit of an education in that particular area. Yes.
Right.
But I'm flattered by the the vote. I mean,
but you're not a lawyer.
But I'm not a lawyer.
But you'd be good.
But lawyers are drawn to me.
Yeah, you'd be good at counseling some of them lawyers, I would imagine. You know, so yeah, I have to give you your props. I probably wouldn't mind you on my team at all.
Hold on a sec. Hold on. Erekose is not a lawyer yet.
Yeah.
Right. There's the yet. Yes, I am hoping to go and see Jerry Buting on Wednesday.
That's gonna be cool.
Sorry, did you want to see that? I'll show you that again.
No, I already saw that.
Are you going to see Jerry Buting in Edinburgh this week? Yeah, hopefully on Wednesday I will go and see him. That's certainly the plan anyway. So moving on, Ella for Jazz. That's what a cool title that is, eh? Ella for Jazz. Ella Fitzgerald for Jazz.
Yeah, right.
Has gone with somebody called Kathleen Zellner. Missy has gone for somebody else called KZ. Michelle Vernon has gone for somebody called KZ. And Mary has gone for SD, Steve Drism.
There you go.
Okay, moving on. Paula Harris has gone for KZ. Justice Hundred for Win went for KZ. Crockett Thompson has gone for Dean Strang.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Dean Strang? Thoughts on Dean Strang? We haven't really touched on him at all.
I like Dean.
I don't even know. I got no beef with him. I think, I mean, 2020 is hindsight. So, I could say a lot of things, but, was he doing his job? Yes. Do I think he was doing the best he could with what he had? Yes. 2020 is a whole different story. You know what I mean?
I feel the same. I feel like with the resources that they had available, they were doing a pretty darn good job. Mm-hmm. They aren't God. They aren't omnipotent. They didn't know what was on those 7 DVDs without having them examined. And they didn't have any more money to examine them a second time after the state had already paid to examine them. So, I mean, I think this is why that should be a Brady violation. Hopefully that's going to be a Brady violation. But it's just there's certain things they couldn't know. They had limited resources. They'd already brought in 2 experts. That would have required bringing in a 3rd expert to examine that computer. And why should they have to do that? I mean, it seems this is what I get at talking about the money in this situation, folks. I did that video the other night talking about, is it okay for the state to spend over $1 million convicting you when you can't spend anywhere near that amount? I mean, there should be no question that the state is allowed to spend to the moon, that anything they do, like a forensic examination of a computer, that examination should be available to both sides, because it's obvious that the defense doesn't have the kind of funds the state has, and it never will.
Yeah, that they need more fairness as far as that goes. Like, spending how many millions of dollars the state got and how much, poor defendant gets. You know what I'm saying? They need to even the playing field a little bit for it to be fair, a fair trial.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely brilliant. What I would say is this: that I wish I had a little bit of Dean Strang's calmness when it came to provocation, because he was provoked that many times, but he just comes across as so calm and eloquent. Really impressive. For me, him, yeah, I like David Rudolph because he's got a passion to him, and I like obviously Kathleen Zellner, because she's just, really, really good.
Yeah.
But I do get the fact that
She's got a swagger.
Dean Strang, very, very good. And let's face it, he was the one that was recommended by, I'm going to say, Steve Glynn. Okay, here we go then. Next up, just stating the truth, a guilter has gone for Dean Strang.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was like a tongue-in-cheek comment.
Oh,
I actually think a lot of the guilters, and to be fair, I think there's a lot of
2 minutes time out. I'll just be back in a sec. You carry on, dude.
Oh, okay, buddy. To be fair, I think a lot of guilters or some guilters out there may actually appreciate Dean and Strang and Jerry Buting as very, classy lawyers who are very effective and argue a good case. They may just feel that they lost this case, because I think Dean and Jerry were very, very classy, very, very, they argued the case well. They hit a lot of the main points and pointed out a lot of the BS, a lot of the main BS in this case, and probably just fell short. But then again, we know that there's something with this jury that was weird. I mean, we know that it originally went in and there was quite a few people that were ready to vote not guilty. And then somehow that got turned all the way around, which is strange when you think about the evidence in this case, because there's nothing about the evidence in this case that would make you more convinced if you were, to me, that went the opposite direction it should have. And that just seems odd, but yeah. So,
and you don't know back then. Like I'm looking at it from back then, not having the hindsight of 2020 and seeing everything that is unfolded. I think they did a good job with what they had. I mean, I was watching Making a Murder and I was saying, damn, why don't you do this? But I'm an armchair, lawyer then, you know what I mean? I'm just saying what, I'm not in it. So I really think they get a lot of slack for it. Just like, Drizzen gets slack for sending in Laura Nightrider. Well, we don't know the circumstances. So what was dealt is what we have to deal with and what we have to look at. And that's just the way it is. You can't go back and say, oh, okay, well, now that we've done this, can we go back and do it a different way? If we could, things would be great. So I don't know the circumstances of things that are unfolding now as to what they are there, because things are always changing in this case. But I think for what they had, I think they did a good job.
I was... Cheers. Sorry about that. I had to let the wee dog out. We're babysitting this very, very elderly little Yorkshire Terrier. So apologies for that. But anyway, what I would say is that, isn't it interesting how we as truthers get accused of being duped by a documentary? And yet I would say that to some of the, shall we say, the honest guilters out there, the ones that don't have a vested interest, the ones that just see the fact that, they are appalled that Teresa Halbach lost her life and why. I would just say to you, not just you, never as a guilter feel ashamed of being duped by Ken Kratz when you consider that Ken Kratz managed to dupe Dean Strang and Jerry Buting.
Yeah,
right.
Never ever feel as if there's any sense of embarrassment in that, because honestly, that Ken Kratz, I just wish he would put his very astute, clever mind to some good rather than bad. And I suppose in his own twisted world, maybe he does feel that he's doing good for Manitowoc and Calumet and saving them a whole load of money, and he's given them this unconditional support. But it's just wrong. It's just wrong. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Somebody that goes by the name of CAF has gone for Kathleen Zellner. I get the impression that somebody called Kathleen Zellner is kind of ahead in the results here, followed by closely in second place somebody called Erekose. And so one of I must say, I do like getting messages from DB Cooper.
I like DB.
DB has gone for Kathleen Zellner. And also, there's a very interesting character on YouTube called Captain Crunch. And he said that he would go for Erekose and Travis because they would convict me for free.
I law degree, so I could do that.
I think Captain Crunch.
It's hard for me to convict my own client. But anyway,
I think he's on the winner there.
I should go to Wisconsin University, and I wouldn't have to do the bar. Then I could hurry up and help convict you too.
That's the Mad Scotsman School of Law. There, that's.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm just going to finish up then by asking you both, Erekose, who would be your chosen lawyer? Sorry, hold on a sec. Ladies first. I do apologize.
Yeah, go ahead, Erekose.
Oh, damn.
Damn. I just stepped into it. I had to walk.
We get on with the Mad Scotsman, and suddenly now Linda's taking the piss. Holy Christ!
Standing up too. Who would I pick for a lawyer? Is that what your question was?
Out of the ones he had put in the tweet, he was saying which one.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can choose.
And I can have a dream team, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, it would be Rudolph, Zellner, and the one that Steve Glenn, is that his name?
Steve Glenn,
yeah, that's who I'd have.
Okay, dude.
Let's see. I don't know. See, I gotta say, and I know you're gonna hate this,
right?
But people that know my channel and know what I'm about are gonna have a more of an appreciation for Steve Drizzen's and Laura Nyrider's subtler, and possibly even classier style. Although I do have a great appreciation for Kathleen Zellner's flamboyant and let's shake it up kind of style. I can appreciate that, but I think my default would be to be a little bit classier, a little bit more subdued, or just not a little less rambunctious, at least until a later point, or at least until a point, where I feel there's nothing else but to start getting a little bit, pushy. But Zellner is real good with that. That's her way she does things. And it's honestly, in my opinion, what Steven needs. So I don't falter for it. But yeah, for myself, if it was my own case, I think I would go for the style of Drizzen and Nyrider,
Well, what I would say is sorry, I should have mentioned at the very beginning, because I know Travis is going to be hammering at me saying, what's your budget? What's your budget? If it was a limitless budget, that's really what I'm saying. If you could choose and somebody else is paying for them, or whatever. For me, Kathleen Zellner is incredibly classy. She's
I'm not saying she's not, but
and also I just wonder if she's found a niche in the market right now. I'm not saying that there is one lawyer that's better than another, but surely at some point it gets to the stage where if you've got one lawyer that's getting paid millions and millions and millions, is there a little bit of jealousy amongst the lawyering community? There are some that think that Kathleen Zellner is just doing this for the money and for the fame of it,
For money.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll give you.
I'll put it this way to those people: the first case she got into, I mean, fame couldn't have been a motivation then. I mean, she couldn't have thought, I'm going to get into wrongful convictions, and that's going to make me a household name. I'm sure that wasn't the thought.
No.
So they dove into a difficult area of law all on their own with no promise of fame.
Right.
So I would say no.
No, I agree. No, she's not in it for, and it certainly is her money she's using. So
is the fame helping her do what she's doing? Yeah.
You know, maybe she didn't.
Maybe hurts a little bit
time
sometimes.
to get this name she has. It's not like it just boom came to her. She's worked a very long time for this.
Exactly.
So she's in it for more reasons than her name to be household and more pocket money, because she apparently pays for it on her own, and she's worked very hard to get her reputation.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I know that there are people out there that if I'd done the practice and had the breaks, I could be the concert accordionist that some of the other guys out there are concert accordionists. But do I begrudge them having that platform? No, because I know at the end of the day, it's advancing the accordion world. And for me, I think what's really important is that Kathleen Zellner advances the art of being a lawyer.
A wrongful conviction lawyer, right?
Right. She wants to truly help.
Well, just a lawyer, because when you've got Chad saying that all lawyers are liars, I do get that. I get that because they don't always tell the truth, But there are hopefully some good eggs. I mean, I would throw into the mix. Oh, just in the last few months, I've come across a lawyer, an ex-attorney called Vic Fazell, and he has really, really impressed me, and not just because what he's done, but what he's had to go through.
Yeah, he went through a lot.
It's
and still stuck true.
Deserves a hell of a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Finally, I suppose. Sorry, we decided, Linda, that you were going to go for. Was it Captain Zellner, Rudolph, and Steve Lynn?
Yeah.
Glenn, and Erekose, you were going to go with
Ryder and Drizzen, most likely.
Ryder and Drizzen. I would say that, as I say, because they all do. Actually, I don't need to do. I don't have to think of the money. Although I'm Scottish, I don't have to go with Eric and Charles because they would convict me for free. But I'm just wondering. Look. Let's put it this way: if I was wanting to convict somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. If I was wanting to. To sort of, if I was really wanting to convict somebody else, I would definitely go for Ken Kratz, because he's bloody top of the list when it comes to getting the job done. As far as
Fallon for that.
I'd represent.
Absolutely.
I did want to point out we got Don Ethan over here in the live chat, folks, and for those of you who don't know, Mr. Don is the guy that does the Justice Mobile magnets. He can help you get those if you're interested in getting those. I have mine. I often slap them on when I'm on my way home from work and stuff like that. And so anyways, he's the guy that can help get those. That way you can get yours numbered and all that sort of stuff and everything, because we do get them numbered. So for those of you who are interested, Don Ethan's the guy on that. He's over on Twitter as Lando Picketer. So go check that out. And and if you want to get those, let him know and he can help you do that.
Well, when he makes them for bodies that don't have cars, I'll get one. If you can tape it on my back and I can walk the streets, cool, I'll do it.
Well, what I would say to Trav is, you directed me to Dennis Reardon, and I was really impressed by that chat that he had with the other two lawyers on that chat about Timothy McVeigh and death penalties. So yeah, I get what you're saying, Trav. Get the ones that are in your location. Get the ones that that know what they're talking about. Now, hold on a sec. Where's it gone?
Hey, I just decided
there we go. Hold on a sec. Hold on. That's what I was looking for. Oh no, where's it going? Where's it going?
I
can't
take mine back since Travis is
I
going to.
cannot control this thing. I'll tell you what it is. It's because everybody keeps putting a comment up. So let's see if I can find out. Here we go. Here's the one. Here's the one. Dude, read it out for us, please.
Oh, sorry. Here, this one. Okay. Erekose on making a murderer. Paul thinks all politicians are liars too. There are good eggs in there too. Ah, yes. Well, that's and she brings that up because those of you might have noticed a video on my other channel yesterday. We got to see that the Capaldi household has a bit of a diverse opinion about Scottish independence.
No.
So,
she controls her own opinion. She also controls mine.
Yeah, well, when she's not around, you talk differently. I'll put it that way. Anyways, moving on.
The point is that as I've said to you many a time, if some of these lawyers had a little bit of George Galloway or Nicola Sturgeon about them, that's what I would like to see. A little bit stir things up and tell it the way it is. Listen, I'm going to have to shoot off because this little dog is wanting out again.
That's what little dogs do. I have one.
Yeah. No. Oh, too late.
Oh, well, now you might as well just sit down and finish. You got a piddle floor now.
You're gonna have to get those little pee pads that they make, so you can put them on the floor. So that
wee pee pad.
if you're gonna be a pet parent, you got to have those.
I mean, we all sit here and say we'd have this lawyer and this lawyer and this lawyer and that lawyer, but we don't have that. Stephen didn't have that. Stephen got the best he could get. I think, now he's got the best there is. So I know when we were talking about it before, would they have, would this person have won it? It's state of Wisconsin. I don't even know Zellner as good as she is. If they stop her, it's not necessarily the lawyer. Okay. It is the corruption or whatever you're dealing with too. So, unless she gets to cut a break and circuit court says, okay, well, we're, or a court of appeal says, okay, you got it.
Yeah. I mean,
she's going to have to keep waiting.
We're just talking hypothetically, and we're just doing it for a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Because I posed a question and I never got round to doing any kind of a thing. It's a little bit like the dude and Erekose. They were going to do this thing about the motion by Kathleen Zellner. It's
right.
Same sort of time frame.
I liked it. I think it was a lot of fun and a lot of fun to pick your lawyers. I just wanted to put my personal thought out there. You know what I'm saying about that. So
and honestly, I'm not having to go at you and far from it be that. Look, I thought it was quite an interesting exercise, and there were some funny answers in there that did make me laugh. So anyway, listen, what Drizzen and I are doing now with this clemency bid? I was going to ask you finally. I've seen it mentioned a couple of times that apparently Mr. Evers can just constantly hide behind the paroles board. Is that right? That he can just, unless it comes forward from
doesn't have to grant
from the paroles board, it has to come. Any of these requests, either for a pardon or clemency, it has to come through the paroles board first. Is that right? Have I got that?
Well, somebody gets it before he does.
I seem to remember that there is one case of somebody else in Wisconsin getting clemency from the governor, but it was like in the mid 1900s. Am I right about that? Any thoughts on that?
Well,
it's not. It's certainly not a common thing as far as I can.
So certainly not. No.
Nothing in Wisconsin is common.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you just it's hit or miss. I mean, somebody having a good day or somebody's not having a good. I mean, I don't know how they do things there. It just boggles my mind every day. I find out more.
Yeah.
I must just include this because I thought that was absolutely brilliant, Don, when Bill Ferguson painted the car, left it outside the courthouse, and did the whole car like that.
That's where a case of public opinion did matter.
Yeah. Now I'm just wondering who's got the biggest car. I've got a little car. I've got a little Audi. Linda, what have you got?
A big butt.
No.
I don't have a car.
Dude, what have you got? You've got the firm's works van, a big Mercedes truck. I reckon it wants to be your car.
That's not mine, and certainly my boss wouldn't allow anybody to be painting it.
But I have a friend who has a 18-wheeler, but the trailer, so I could put it on that.
Okay, I'm going to let you all go because that's been plenty long enough of havering. I can understand so much havering, and then that's I get to my limits, obviously.
No,
I don't believe it, but okay.
I don't either. But that's why we love you, Paul.
Okay, absolutely brilliant. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I mean everybody for tuning in, and expressing your opinions because everybody is entitled to their opinion, and that's what we're here for. And hopefully we'll get some news in the not too distant future about what's happening with the Court of Appeals and the state. The state, that's a good word. I think they are in a bit of a state. I really don't see how they're going to extricate themselves from this with any kind of credibility. I think
the hammer's coming down.
Well, I think they're just an embarrassment, aren't they?
Well, yeah. I mean, they can't really explain.
Yeah.
No.
There's no way they're going to be able to effectively explain all of this wonky crap that they were doing. That doesn't make sense. I mean, they can say, "Oh, but the jury said." Yeah, the jury said that based on BS. So that's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Linda, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
If you could start us off with
it's goodbye from him and him.
She's trying to. There you go.
No, on you go. Then I'm going to say it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from him and him. That's goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
See you guys.
Bye.